Hey Disney cruisers, and welcome back to the DCL community. We are here to help you plan, prepare for, and get excited about this upcoming Disney cruises. You guys know me. I'm Rebecca. I am your admin of the DCL community, and we are so excited tonight to be talking about Disney cruises versus all-inclusive resorts, and specifically some of those family resorts. So as you guys are coming in, please say hello so we can say hi back. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you have a resort in mind, or if you're just here to get some pointers. But as you guys are coming in, hello and welcome. And Karen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. Thanks for tuning again tonight. I'm Karen Shelton. I am the owner of My Path Unwinding Travel, and you all know me and us as Disney Cruise Line experts, but we also are certified beaches specialists, Nickelodeon resort specialists, Eshkaret resort specialists, and we work with really a whole range of all-inclusive resorts. And because we've experienced both cruising and all-inclusives, we can help you find the right match or decide which one is the right vacation for you for your next trip.
Awesome. And just so people know, I know most people are probably at this point aware that if they use your services for a Disney cruise, those are totally free. But the same applies for these all-inclusive resorts, right?
It does. It does. So I do not charge for planning an all-inclusive at a vacation, and we can work with you to find all kinds of options and perks and amazing values on all the different options that are out there.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, let's dive in. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put those in the comments. We will do our best to get to all of those throughout. If you have something that's a little more personal, I'm going to put Karen's contact information in the comments. Just shoot her an email or feel free to give her a call. She is happy to help. But with that, Karen, take it away.
Thanks. So I wanted to just give an overview. This time always goes really, really fast. And of course, we are all Disney Cruise Line fans. We're part of Rebecca's amazing Disney Cruise Line community. So, this is, the baseline is a Disney cruise is an amazing vacation. So, but sometimes you want something a little different. Maybe the dates don't work. Maybe you need some more flexibility or just wanting to try something new. And so I want to kind of just give an overview to compare the two so you can make an informed decision about what will work best for your vacation. So the first thing that I want to do is just cover what's included already in a Disney cruise. And, there is a lot of inclusions on a Disney cruise. So of course, when you book your cruise, you're getting your room, either, a standard stateroom all the way out and up to a suite. Um, Most of your dining is included. So Disney Cruise Line includes the 3 rotational main dining rooms on every cruise, and those are included. There's options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner included. Quick service dining on the pool deck included. The buffets included. Room service options even included. So there's so much dining included on a Disney Cruise Line. The only thing that is not included are the adult dining experiences, like Palo and Remy or Enchante, depending on the ship. So those are available at an extra charge. And then entertainment. I mean, Disney is an entertainment company. And so when you sail on Disney Cruise Line, you get world-class Broadway style shows and a whole range of other types of, fantastic things to keep you happy. Fireworks at sea and first run Disney movies. And then of course, all the fun interactions with Disney characters. So those are all things that make Disney Cruise Line unique and special. And then the youth clubs starting, for the preschool age all the way on up to teenagers, those are all included. So unless you have a baby that you have to pay for nursery time for, all of those youth club experiences are included. So, well, there's a few things that are not included on a Disney cruise. As I mentioned, the adult dining. So whether you're experiencing a brunch or a dinner at one of the exclusively adult restaurants, that's an additional charge. Adult beverages, additional charge. Those specialty coffees, if you want something other than drip coffee or, a tea bag. If you
Yeah.
want something from Cove Cafe or cappuccino, those are extra. And even like, a mocktail, all those kinds of things are extra. And then of course your shore excursions are not included. So those are, and I also didn't mention spa. Those are the kinds of things that are additional on a Disney cruise. Still an amazing value. It's hard to beat a cruise for a vacation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with so much already included, I mean, you can have the best vacation for your family without spending a penny extra, other than your gratuities at the end, which you can prepay. You could
Yep.
literally go on board, I know it's hard to stay away from the stores with kids. They want to get the toys that are in there, but if you stay away from those stores and don't do some of these extras, you could still have an amazing vacation, and it is
Right.
kind of all included at that point.
Yeah, and especially for some of the shorter cruises, you don't necessarily need a port adventure because everything on Castaway Key, except for the adult beverages, can be included. You don't have to pay extra for a beach chair or a umbrella. Um, and you could pay for certain excursions on Castaway or on the islands, but a lot of people, let's say on Nassau, choose to stay on the ship.
Mhm.
So, um, Paulo and Remy, as we said, are additional costs. If you're a platinum cruiser, you may get one meal at Paulo included as a perk for being a frequent cruiser. But in general, that's an additional charge.
Yes. I
So,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I know a lot of times first-time cruisers come on and they're super stressed about checking in and is everything gonna be left? But I think Karen talking through all the things that are already included that you don't even have to sign up for. There's so much to do on these ships that you don't even know about until you step on board and can see that Navigator app fully loaded. So don't stress if this is your first cruise and you're worried about not getting Palo or not getting some of the tasting seminars or something like that. You are going to have an amazing time. Sorry,
that's
Karen,
right.
go
I
ahead.
always say, no, I always say that, like sometimes first time cruisers, because they're the last to be able to select those activities, they're worried like, oh, I didn't get this or that. And first of all, there are so many other activities that you'll
Mhm.
see once you get on board. And also, you have to remember, everybody was a first time cruiser once.
Yeah.
And they had a great time and they came back up to 10, 15, 25, or more cruises. So there's a reason for that, even when you're a first time cruiser and maybe can't do all the activities that you had hoped for.
Yes.
So let's talk about what an all inclusive resort could look like. So on a Disney cruise, you might get an inside room with no windows, and you might get something all the way up to a suite. All inclusives always have windows.
That's
almost always are
amazing.
gonna almost always are gonna have balconies, depending on the resort, but the vast majority of them will have some kind of balcony or terrace or patio. One thing that many all-inclusives have that you cannot get on a ship is a swim-up room. So what I'm
Ooh.
showing here in this picture is an example of a swim-up room at the Nickelodeon Riviera Maya, where you just step right out of your balcony into that plunge pool type area.
Wow.
And, it can't get much more family friendly than that, having your own swim up. Um,
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I know we get the question every week about parents worrying about their kids out on the verandas and safety. Is safety ever a concern with the swim up rooms?
Well, some people choose not to have swim ups, and in some of the resorts, depending on the layout, they may not let families with younger children book the swim ups. It
Oh,
depends. But for example, in this resort, what you don't see is that there is a safety gate before you can get into the pool. And of course, the balcony door also has a safety gate on it.
perfect.
So And you can choose, not to have this type of room. This is just one example.
Oh,
Now,
I
all
would
inclusive
put some on
resorts,
them every time.
yes, yes. Um, and all inclusive resorts can go all the way up to like 4 and 5 bedroom villas that are located at some all inclusive resorts. So if you have, a big group that all really wants to be together, and you can book a villa and still have the all inclusive amenities. So there's such a wide range of room categories to choose from. But the value is that usually do get some really beautiful room settings. So when we talk about all inclusive, really part of the main part of the all inclusive aspect of the resort is that all of your dining is included and all of your beverages are included. So the various all inclusive resorts have a wide range of dining options and restaurants. And, depending on the size of resort, you could have 4 to 5 to 8, 9, 10 or more different restaurants to choose from. Most of them usually have some kind of buffet experience that's, might be really convenient for breakfast and lunch, but also might be open for dinner as an option. A lot of them have poolside kind of cookouts and barbecue options. And then they'll have a range of restaurants from Italian to Asian to a steakhouse to Mexican, seafood, all different themes. And what's great is for most of them, you can take your kids. Some of the family resorts may have an adult only venue or, 1 or 2 restaurants that are exclusively for adults. But whereas on Disney, the only dining room option that you have are the main dining rooms. At an all inclusive resort, you can take your kids to the Italian or to the Asian or to the seafood place. And so you can have more variety and different dining options. So
Wow.
that's kind of fun.
And I
And
was
then in terms,
I was
go
just gonna
ahead.
ask, I know there's so many options. So is the food quality good compared to a Disney cruise, or does it just depend?
Well, I'm going to say it really depends. And that's why it's really important to work with a travel professional that has visited a lot of these resorts and it can help guide you. Because just like there's different cruise lines and the food quality can differ from
Mm,
cruise line to cruise line, the restaurants and the food quality and the beverage quality can vary from across the different all-inclusive brands. So a lot of times I'll talk to my clients and say, what's important to you? Because if a food experience is really important, then I may steer you away from one brand and towards another. Or I might say, is the beach more important, or a great pool's more important, or is having a water park more important? So there are some all-inclusive resorts that have incredible food, and some that I would say the food is just okay.
mm,
And I would say it's not always that you get what you pay for. Sometimes they can be more
interesting.
expensive and not necessarily the best food. So that is something that, we can talk about, when we're helping to plan a family vacation.
I was gonna say
But
I
then the
could just
other
oh, sorry, you go ahead.
well, I was going to say the other thing that's included is all of your beverages. So, you cannot prepay a bar tab on Disney Cruise Line. There's no drink package. So people that have sailed on Royal Caribbean or Norwegian
Mm,
might be used to being able to
yeah,
purchase a drink package. Disney does not really have that, and I don't think they'll ever have it. You can maybe
yeah.
get a bucket of beer or a wine package, but there's never gonna be like a cocktail package. But at all inclusives, all of the beverages are included all day long. So you might even see at breakfast, you will see at breakfast a Bloody Mary bar and a mimosa bar. And if you really want to, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, you can even get your pina colada with your breakfast, whatever it is. The kids can get their smoothies, their mocktails. All of it is included in your all inclusive. So, you don't have to budget anymore for, your bar tab at the end of a Disney cruise. you're going to have to pay for that. At the end of an all-inclusive, there's really not going to be that additional bill because that was already part of your reservation.
And for the people out there who maybe they don't drink, their family's not big into some of these specialty drinks, they just want water and maybe the occasional juice. Is an all-inclusive still going to be worth it for them?
A lot of times it still is because, I mean, there are some great hotels that are called EP or European plan, which means that no meals and no beverages are included and you're paying for basically everything out of pocket.
Oh, wow.
And those tend to have pretty expensive, items like on the restaurant menu. Things can add up. So even if you don't drink, the all-inclusives can still be a really, really good value. It just depends. Again, it's something that we have to weigh out.
Mhm.
Because even most of the all-inclusives that I would recommend will include like your specialty coffees, for example. And so, just having that already prepaid can be a value. So it really depends on what vibe you want. But a lot of people really do see that there's a great value to be had in an all inclusive when, you know, especially let's say you have teenage kids that are eating all the time.
Yeah.
And even like in your room at the all inclusive resorts, not all, but many will stock your refrigerator with waters and sodas and M&Ms, Pringles, beer. Some even have alcohol stocked in your room, depending on the
Wow.
resort and the category. So, depending on what's important to you, we can find again the right match.
Awesome. And we do have this question. Do you have experience working with all-inclusive and DCL clients who are wheelchair dependent and want to do water or beach excursions?
Absolutely. So it really, that's something that we have to dive into because they're not all made equal in terms of their accessibility. Because remember, in the Caribbean or Mexico, for example, they don't have the same requirements or laws for accessibility. And
Oh,
so
that's a great
it's
point.
really important to be familiar with the resorts to see what do they have in terms of accessibility options. I mean, Disney has done a really good job for accessibility. Um, so it's important to know when you're going to these resorts, can you get to your room? Can you get out on that balcony? And it varies. And so, we have to find the right match.
Yeah, I just put the link for Karen's page. Reach out to her and she can help talk through what the best options might be for you and your family.
Yep. So, all inclusive resorts also have all kinds of entertainment. They usually have kind of like a social entertainment squad during the day that run all kinds of fun activities, whether it be like water aerobics or beach volleyball, beach soccer. Let's set up a pickleball game, beverage tastings, fun music playing. So there's a lot of people that will get out there and say, "Hey, come on, let's join us to do these activities if you want. If you want to sit in your beach chair and relax, that's cool." But that's really fun also when you have like teens that might not want to go to the kids club per se. Teens don't like to necessarily go to the club, even if they're decked out for teens. Um, but to have kind of these social facilitators that help organize different activities throughout the day. And then at night, most of the all inclusives include entertainment from like Cirque du Soleil type acts
Mm.
to there might be like cover band, like a Queen cover band, or like
Oh,
acrobatics with fire dancing. There could be a comedy show. There could be all kinds of theme nights. There could be movies. So depending on the resort, there's different kinds of entertainment in the evening. Just musical acts, DJs, dance parties for the kids. And
yeah.
then there's kids clubs so that the parents can have some
Yeah.
fun too. So the kids club are going to vary again from country to country and resort to resort. That starting age might vary, but for the most part, they'll start at 4, some start at 3, and some start at newborn, depending on the company. So, you kind of have to look, what do I need for my kids? do I need a kids club that is really a nursery starting, for my 6-month-old, or do I need a resort that, maybe has fun things for older kids? Do they stay in the kids club versus coming out of the kids club with, do they take them out on the beach? There's all different kinds of options depending on the resort, and the hours of the kids club might vary as well. But most resorts also have nanny services available.
Oh,
So, y-
wow.
so for example, we'll talk about beaches. Beaches resort is a pretty expensive price point, and they include um, childcare starting at zero. Basically, there's really
Oh,
no minimum age, which is great, but it's really pricey. So maybe if you have a little one, maybe you would pick a different resort and pay an hourly fee for a nanny, and it still would be a better value. So
got
it's
it.
one of these things to kind of compare.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so um, let's go on and talk about beaches
Yeah.
because it's one of probably the most well-known brands out there. And, Sandals and Beaches Resorts are sister resorts. Sandals is the adult only, and Beaches is the for everyone. So Beaches is great for families, but it also can be great for girls' trips. They do some every year. They do like girlfriend getaway themed weekends
Oh,
with a lot of fun
cute.
extras. Yeah. So, and somebody asked about placeholders for future trips. Sandals and Beaches have sort of a repeat guest program that when you're there, you can book your next trip. And it's not necessarily a placeholder, but it is sort of a incentive to rebook. So there's some similarities there. Um, Beaches, I mean, most people have heard of it because they do market heavily, and they're beautiful resorts, all inclusive. Right now, they have them in 3 locations, two in Jamaica, and one, which is probably the bucket list for a lot of people, in Turks and Caicos.
Oh, yes.
And what's fun about beaches for Disney folks is that it is there is some theming to it, but not all over the place. There is some opportunity to interact with Sesame Street characters at beaches. So if you have preschoolers, it is kind of a fun option to have, to be able to meet some of the Sesame Street characters. And then for an extra fee, they do have some special events like a bedtime where a character can come and read your child a story at bedtime, which is
Cute.
really fun. So they have some cute things. The beaches resorts have great water parks, and their inclusions are really phenomenal. They include all your water sports, snorkeling, catamarans, even scuba diving. So if you're already scuba certified, then you can go out and scuba with beaches, and it is included, which is part of why they are at a higher price point, because they do have a lot of extras that are all part of your package. So definitely something to keep in mind. Lots of restaurant options, lots of different room configurations too, all the way from just kind of your more standard hotel room type option, all the way up to gorgeous villas that are beachfront with private pools.
Wow.
So, I've seen weddings being held at them, maybe like the, bride and her family might rent the villa and they might have a private reception there. And then everybody else could stay at the other categories. So great, great option to consider.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love the idea of a wedding at an all-inclusive. I know so many people like to do their weddings on board, but this is another great way to get everybody in one place, a beautiful location, and it's all inclusive.
And the nice thing about it, since we're doing a comparison with Disney Cruise Line, is when you book a Disney Cruise Line wedding or vow renewal, it's not inexpensive. They charge you, and there's limits and there's extras, but it's going to start at least $4,500 for most part for just even the most basic wedding on board or vow renewal on board Disney Cruise. And if you want it on Castaway, it's going to be more. Um, but when you do a wedding or a vow renewal at an all-inclusive, most of them have packages that if you have a certain number of rooms booked, then your wedding is free. And the cost for the extras or like the reception is really, really reasonable. So, I have planned some events for folks, whether it be a wedding or even just a group event where like a gorgeous seated dinner with open bar is like $35 or $40 a head, which you could just never ever get anywhere
No.
in the United States for a wedding.
Wow.
So, and then the ceremony is like included, is there's no charge. So there's some great packages when you consider planning events at all inclusives that really are hard to beat sometimes. So definitely something to think about.
I was gonna say, move
So
over Disney cruise weddings. That sounds amazing.
exactly, exactly. And the nice thing about doing an event or a wedding at an all-inclusive is that, your guests can kind of come and go as long as they're there for, like, let's say your wedding is on a Saturday. As long as they're there on the Saturday, they can
Mm-hmm.
arrive on Friday and stay till Wednesday. They can arrive on Wednesday and stay till Sunday. So they can book it to fit their schedule a little bit more rather than being locked into the Disney cruise schedule. So,
Well, that's a great
that
point.
can sometimes be an example. Like I've got clients where some of them are staying a week and some of them are
Mhm.
staying 3 days. So that can be a nice thing.
Yeah,
So
and you can help coordinate all the travel for those bigger parties, right?
absolutely. And, if you have a group or a wedding, I mean, I always say, the bride and groom should focus on the wedding, and we help the bride and groom with the on-site wedding coordinator and all of that. But the guests and dealing with all the questions from the guests and their rooms and their bookings, that should not be on the bride and groom. That's why you hire a travel professional in that case. So, okay. So another all-inclusive that is probably less well known but is amazing is called Xcaret, and this is in the Riviera Maya area of Mexico. And this resort is newer. There's actually three parts to the resort. Xcaret, which is the main resort that's family friendly. Then there's another resort, it's a separate one, but they kind of share some facilities, called Xcaret Arte, which is for 16 and up, and some of the buildings are 18 and up. And then there's a fabulous little gem that's its own little luxury boutique called La Casa de la Playa that is part of Xcaret. That's adult only. Definitely
Ooh.
bucket list, honeymoon, superstar worthy. But focusing on the family side, Xcaret is gorgeously, authentically Mexico. It was built with Mexico culture and art and design and archaeology and history in mind.
Ooh.
So it really feels like a sense of place, and with a lot of the materials locally sourced, um, really true to Mexican culture. So besides being just a beautiful, beautiful setting, the inclusions are not just the restaurants and the alcohol and the beverages and great pools and, all that. But Xcaret has about half a dozen parks all throughout the area, that are experiential parks with entertainment and a history, and cenotes, which are like these underwater caves, and rivers to float down,
Wow.
and all kinds of. And then there's uh, like a more of a thrill park that has like ATVs and zip lines and snorkeling. And when you stay at Xcaret, all of those parks are included. So it is really a great vacation if you have teens, young adults, adults that like to stay busy. If you're the kind of family that are like, I don't want to sit on the beach all day, Eshkret is for you because there is so much to do. You will never be bored, and all the transportation to the parks are included. They're always adding new experiences. So this is just such a great option. Really, something I highly recommend.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And is that a picture of did you say cenote? Is
So
that,
this is on the top left is a picture of the cenote and at the Eshkret Park. And I have had the opportunity to float down one of these rivers. They have several. I mentioned at La Casa de la Playa, which is an adult only experience. And when you stay there, not only do you have entrance and all these experiences included, but they VIP everything. So everything is like exclusive, private. They take you around in a Tesla, that you get into the park early before anybody else gets to. So we
ooh,
floated down that river with just a group of like 8 of us and then ended at a private breakfast. So it was elevated in every way.
wow. Okay. Because I know a lot of times people might think of all inclusives as maybe not as luxury, but you can get the luxury of kind of the Disney Cruise Line, the magic of that, but you can get it on land. Wow.
Absolutely. There's really all levels. And, it's really important because, you could see different quote unquote deals for all inclusives. And I can tell you why, or I would not recommend it. So,
Yeah.
because there are, dozens and dozens and dozens of all inclusives to choose from. And, you want to make sure that it's right for your family's budget, but also going to be a good experience for the quality that you want. So,
Yeah.
if you are a Disney cruiser, then we kind of have a baseline of quality that we're comparing it to. And I would
Yeah.
say Eshkret delivers for sure.
That's fantastic. I know it's so easy, like you're saying, with all the options that there are for all inclusives. I mean, you could easily have 100 tabs open on your computer just trying to research the different options. So having someone like Karen to help you narrow that down based on what's important to you and your family, oh my gosh, that just takes so much stress and pressure off of you as the planner. And speaking of, somebody asked, what are the best times to book that may be with less children or affected by hurricanes? I guess we can answer that for cruises and for all inclusives if there's a difference.
Sure. So, well, the hurricane season is the hurricane season. If you're on a ship or you're on land, technically it's from July to November. I would say by experience, July is usually pretty safe. November is usually pretty safe. Avoiding school holidays, of course. If
Mhm.
you have flexibility because you're traveling with children or because you're not traveling with children, then avoiding summer and avoiding school holidays will be great. So I think a great time to travel is April after the Easter holidays are over and spring break is over into May, into like before Labor Day, before Memorial Day. Great time for cost. It's a good balance of cost and weather and not super busy. And then, you can also travel again in um, November after Thanksgiving or early December is good weather after hurricane season and usually pretty good value as well. Prices are going to increase again as you get closer to Christmas.
Yeah,
So those are some good times to consider.
awesome.
So I can't believe how quick these conversations always go,
I
Rebecca, but
know.
I have to talk about Nickelodeon resorts. One of my all-time favorite places for families, especially if you are a Disney cruiser or a Disney theme park fan. That means you like themed vacations. And if you have grown up with Nickelodeon, if you have kids that watch Nick Jr. or Nickelodeon, really need to check out the Nickelodeon resort. The original one is in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. It is all inclusive. It has really gorgeous suites and all the way from general suites to swim ups. You can stay in the Pineapple Villa. You can really stay in the pineapple under the sea. It's incredibly themed, really high end, incredible service. And now in Riviera Maya, Mexico, they have opened the newest Nickelodeon resort, Riviera Maya, And it has an extensive water park for all ages. Really, even adults would love the water park. Great lazy river, some thrill slides, all kinds of water features for, a Blues Clues themed area for little ones, all the way up to like race sliders. Of course, you can get slimed. They have all the Nick characters. And the best thing about the Nickelodeon Riviera Maya is that all the rooms are oceanfront. All the rooms have 2 bathrooms, and all the rooms are swim up. So if you're nervous about swim up, we'll have to talk. But
Yeah.
otherwise, they are
Check.
check. And it is just a super, super great option. And it's fun because when you're in the hotel side and in the room, the theming is not over the top. It's very tasteful. It's very well done. It's peaceful. And then you can go to the water park and have just a blast. And all the food and alcohol and beverages at the water park is also included. So,
Oh, wow.
yes. Um, and, thanks to the question about all inclusive, high end outside of Disney, definitely have so many options. Some would consider Nickelodeon to fit the bill. We can talk about that depending on what's important. But here I have some other, there's just a range. I've got the Azul, what am I saying? Azul Riviera Cancun, all inclusives here. Margaritaville has adult only and family friendly options.
Oh, wow.
Hyatt Ziva is beautiful. And one of the ultimate all inclusive luxury options is called Grand Vilas. So that's also in Mexico. Gorgeous. That's that 4th picture in this slide. It really depends on your family's style. Is a water park important? Is a great beach important? Is, super food important? So, those are the things we have to talk about to find the right match.
Gosh,
And
there's so
then
many options.
if you are not traveling with kids, then you can think about an adult only all inclusive. I would say in general, adult only properties are a little bit more expensive, not always, but they can be a tad higher. No reason that if you're traveling without kids to, you could still go to the family friendly ones and have a great time. Sandals is, as we talked about, one of the most well known. One of my favorites recently is the 3rd picture. That's called Secrets Moshe. It is gorgeous. That first picture is La Casa de la Playa that I mentioned earlier, where all the inclusions of Xcaret are VIP'd, and every room has plunge pools and
Ooh.
volcanic stone tubs, and your butler will make you a bubble bath every night. Incredible. So definitely some over the top experiences. The question about Nickelodeon, thank you for that question. It's the Nickelodeon Riviera Maya that has the oceanfront swim ups. Nickelodeon Punta Cana has swim ups, but they're not all oceanfront. So their rooms are a little bit more spread out, and they have way fewer ocean view rooms there, but they do have swim up rooms. But the Nickelodeon Riviera Maya is the new one that has the brand new water park and all those amazing features. So, so many incredible options. Rebecca, you're going to be experiencing an adult only all inclusive soon.
I'm so excited, but now I'm like, gosh, I want a butler to make me a bubble bath in my swim up. Gosh, I need to go on another one. I haven't even been yet. Oh
Yes.
my
No, I mean,
God.
you definitely pay for that experience. There's all different price points. But, we're familiar with the ones that are great values, and also the ones where, yes, you're paying, but it is worth it, because believe me, when I came back at night and found that bubble bath waiting for me, it was just the best
Yeah.
feeling. You can't deny it. A few quick reminders that I wanted to add.
Yes.
Is so passports. All these all inclusives are outside the United States. So you always will need a passport as opposed to a Disney cruise where passports are recommended, but for the closed loop cruises out of the US, they're not required. But
Are
when
there
you do an
any
all
all-inclusive
inclusive,
are there any all-inclusives in the US?
really the answer is no. There is one Club Med in Florida that is family friendly, that is all inclusive, but honestly, it's not something I recommend to most families because it is not on the beach. It is in kind of
Oh,
central Florida, and so it's not what most people consider. There is another adult only in the Keys called the Bungalows at Key Largo that is all inclusive. Not quite as all inclusive as some of the ones we've talked about in the Caribbean. And it is very high end, but it is a beautiful option. But
got
for the
it.
most part, we get that question, can I do an all inclusive in Hawaii or Puerto Rico even? They don't exist. St. Thomas, they don't exist. So the vast majority of all inclusives, you're going to need that passport.
Got it.
So just want to point that out since we're doing a comparison. And we've got travel insurance that always have to put in a plug, and using Travel Advisor, of course. We hope you reach out to us so we can help you find your right vacation, whether it be Disney Cruise Line, which still love a Disney cruise vacation, but it's nice to kind of mix it up every once in a while and try something different.
Yeah, this has been amazing. I've learned so much. So if somebody's watching right now and they're like, okay, a Disney cruise sounds great. That's why I joined this group in the first place, but now an all-inclusive sounds good too. They can reach out to you and what they should have in mind, what's important to their family, maybe a budget, maybe timing, if there's some dates they have in
Yes.
mind.
Yes, because sometimes, I hear from folks like, the timing of the Disney cruises just don't meet their schedules because Disney cruises are most of the time, if it's a 3 night, it'll be a Friday to a Monday. If it's a 4 night, it'll be a Monday to a Friday. And then somebody might be like, I have a Wednesday to a Saturday. Well, I can't help you with a Disney cruise then. It's going to be
Yeah.
really rare to find that. And you'll be surprised, even though you might have to add airfare in, a lot of times the value can be there. So, sometimes it pays to make the comparison, especially if you're already having to fly for your Disney cruise, then, or even a Disney vacation. I will tell you that we do a lot of comparisons these days of Walt Disney World vacations with Disney cruise vacations or all inclusives
Oh, wow.
because Walt Disney World is a great vacation, but those that can add up too. So
Yeah.
a lot of people think, oh my gosh, I can't afford to fly to Jamaica or Dominican Republic. But a lot of times, once you put all the pieces together, you'll see that um, you know, it can be the right fit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially Disney World, those things start to stack up really, really quickly when it's not all included. So looking at some of these other options, it can just, like Karen said, it can kind of help paint that whole picture of your budget and your priorities for your vacation. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm excited to
Well,
plan an all-inclusive vacation. I don't know if you guys are, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Karen. Oh, we did get a question. Do any offer payments? Can't be balloon payments.
absolutely. Yes. And virtually all of our vacation packages include a payment option where you have an initial deposit and then your final payment due 30 to 45 days prior. We even have some options where you can pay a reduced amount for your airfare up front and be able to, lock in your airfare but not have to pay for it until your final payment date, above the
Awesome.
initial deposit. So there's all different ways of doing this and to make it again the right fit for your family.
Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like there is a way for us all to vacation that's perfect for us. If you guys have any other questions for Karen or want her and her team's help in your planning for your family's vacation, we put her contact information in the comments. So feel free to reach out to her. She is so kind, so knowledgeable, as you guys can see, and super responsive, and is here to help. So Karen, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys on board. Bye, all.
Thanks, Rebecca.